Ladies, gentlemen, and wanderers of all ages, Diablo 4 is currently in its sort of slow ramp-up of hype until the release of the Vessel of Hatred expansion. And along with this, we have relatively frequent bits of media being released through the official channels from the developers themselves. We have interesting tidbits of information being drip-fed by the devs as well. And of course, along the side of this, other things are just being found out or worked out by the community in relation to the expansion too. So today, let's round up everything going on the last few days in the world of Diablo 4. Starting first off then, we have a new sort of story trailer released for the expansion. This dives a bit deeper into the mind and the journey of Neyrelle. I know after a few seasons of relatively non-existent story being stuck into these seasonal questlines that are quite short, it can be easy to forget this, but the base game Diablo 4 campaign is actually an exceptionally well-made experience. It's a very fun story. The cutscenes are some of the best in gaming in my personal opinion, the voice acting is great, but of course most people will do the campaign once or maybe twice and not really touch it again, which makes it easy to forget just how good it was. But with Vessel of Hatred promising its own new proper story campaign, continuing off from where we were, and all of the very dire implications of Neyrelle's situation, carrying the Soulstone with Mephisto, and fighting to avoid being corrupted into hatred, and ending up just like her mother. This gets deep, it's emotional, and it has a really solid animation style and great voice acting. It's fun for the eyes, so it's just generally worth checking out if you enjoy the story of the game in the first place. Second up then, a sort of currently ongoing event within the game you may not be aware of, which is that Diablo 4 is currently holding a relatively limited free weekend. The game is free to download and play on all of the currently available platforms for the game, but with the restriction that you can only get up to level 20 on any individual character if you do it this way. This is obviously a little bit tough because if you're trying to work out if you'll enjoy the game or not, level 20 is a very inaccurate representation, especially right now where it is level 20 out of 100, whereas next season if they do this again, it would be level 20 out of 60, which would be at least a little bit better, relatively speaking. That said, this is still an opportunity for new people to pick up the game, so if you know anyone who's been sort of on the edge of considering it, let them know that this is happening, and they'll at least get a brief glimpse into the way that the game feels, especially as, on top of this, the game is also on sale on all platforms while this is happening, and if you buy the game, you can keep your progress from your level 20 capped characters. Then just a couple of quick tweets from the developers talking about some important things. The first from Joseph Pipiora in response to someone asking if there would be a mid-season balance patch happening for Season 5 at some point or not, because this is around the same time that said patch would have hit in previous seasons, a month and a half after the season starts. But presumably due to Season 5 being only 2 months long, and the, of course, impending arrival of the expansion, this tweet confirms no balance patch and presumably no proper updates of any kind will be hitting the game until the expansion and Season 6 itself hit next month. The second tweet then is from Adam Fletcher in response to being asked about a campfire chat and Twitch drops and if they would be happening. He says to expect both of these. The stream we already knew about, and in theory we'll be getting an actual date for when this will happen early next week, with my personal guess for when it will happen still pinning it either October 2nd or October 3rd for the stream itself. The other half of that is the properly new information, which is simply that there will be new Twitch drops for the game with Vessel of Hatred. And previous Twitch drops have all been relatively quaint but not overly sought after cosmetics. However, they are cosmetics that are essentially just a free bonus as a result of this way of getting them, so knowing to expect this is quite nice, though until we actually see what they look like, it is still a little bit hard to judge. Then we come up on our big topic of the day, which is the Paragon point progression system moving into Season 6 and the expansion. We did play around with this quite a fair bit on the PTR, but Rob2628, who does a lot of great Diablo stuff specifically, did high Paragon leveling testing to get a grasp of the actual numbers required by doing tier 85 pits, specifically because this is just a good benchmark to actually hit, as a lot of strong builds can do pit 100, but pit tier 85 is just a lot more efficient to actually be able to do in those same builds to actually build this up. And along in short of all this is that the amount of experience required for each new Paragon point goes up exponentially as you progress through having more Paragon points. The first 100 points are less than 0.5% of the amount of experience you would need total to have all 300 Paragon points. That said, the majority of the ramp up does come after Paragon level 200, so once you get past what we currently have on live servers, because 200 is what we're currently sitting at if you then add the renown bonuses above that. To put this simply into more digestible terms, when it comes to next season, most players should not at all expect to reach maximum Paragon points of 300 before they actually stop playing the game for the season. Or if they do, it's because they really committed and played the season quite a lot, maybe even played it more because of this mechanic. Because in a world where each season it feels like they're just sort of making the raw leveling time faster and faster so that people can get into the end game and the meat of the experience a little bit earlier, they still clearly wanted some sort of longer term, difficult to attain power goal, similar to the final 10 levels in Diablo 2, where getting to level 90 was relatively easy, but then 90 to 100 was basically basically a super duper long-term goal, as it just slowed down so much it just wasn't expected for most people to get it before a ladder reset. That said, all that really means is let's not be surprised by this going into Season 6. Paragon will be different than you're used to. We are now locked off to 5 boards maximum, which I'm still pretty unconvinced about, but part of the reason is because we are getting 300 maximum Paragon points over 200, which means by the end, for 5 boards, they will be super full up once we have all the Paragon points. However, if the last 100 Paragon points are going to come that slowly in the end and just sort of drip feed in that small amount, it may not be quite as bad as it initially looked. Basically, I'm just trying to set both your and my own expectations correctly around the system, and then of course, once we have all actually properly experienced it ourselves for a full season, we will have a better idea of whether it's right or if it should be changed with this one. That pretty much does it for today, and everyone, just a bit of a roundup of the recent goings-on the last few days in the realm of Diablo 4. I hope you've enjoyed this, and of course, feel free to leave any of your own thoughts in the comments down below. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.